President Trump heading overseas this week.
We spent tremendous amounts of money with NATO.
For a meeting of world leaders. Stepped up security for Independence Day.
As a public, the community is really our biggest allies.
The latest from our D.C. bureau. And a massive rescue effort ends on the 4th.
Stress that this family has been under.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak. Hello, South Florida. I'm Sabrina Lozano.
I'm Alejandro Hernandez. Today is Monday, July 6th, 2026.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Today is a travel day for President Trump as he's scheduled to cross the Atlantic this evening. This week, leaders from countries that are part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization will meet in Turkey.
But as CNN's Jen Sullivan reports, relations between the U.S. and other NATO members have been strained under the Trump administration.
President Donald Trump will head to Turkey this week for the NATO summit, where he'll meet with other leaders from North America and Europe. His trip comes as the U.S. wraps up monumental celebrations for America's 250th birthday.
For 2.5 centuries, our American republic has stood as the crowning achievement of human history.
NATO and many allies posting celebratory messages for the U.S. on July 4th. But the country's relations with NATO have been rocky under the Trump administration.
They want to see a U.S. that really commits to stay within the alliance and maybe a softening of the rhetoric.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte visited the White House last month to try to smooth over relations with the U.S. The president has repeatedly questioned whether the U.S. should remain part of the NATO alliance.
The big fear I have with NATO is we spend tremendous amounts of money with NATO. And I know we'll come to their rescue, but I just really do question whether or not they'll come to ours.
Likely topics of discussion this week: finalized peace talks between the U.S. and Iran, and the ongoing Russian war in Ukraine, and NATO's support for Ukraine.
Our partners, primarily the United States and our European partners, need to be more proactive in providing assistance with us.
Saturday, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Trump spoke on the phone for nearly 90 minutes. The Russian Foreign Ministry calling it businesslike and highly constructive. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
OPEC Plus announced yesterday that it will once again increase oil production. With ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz still below pre-law levels following the U.S.-Israel conflict with Iran, OPEC Plus says it will boost output by 188,000 barrels per day. This marks the 5th production increase since the conflict began in February. The oil market has faced months of distributions as shipping through the strait was restricted.
President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are expected to meet in Washington as early as next Monday, according to Israeli officials. The meeting would be their first face-to-face interaction since the war with Iran. Trump and Netanyahu are expected to discuss the next phase of the conflict, as well as the U.S.-Israeli security agreement. The current agreement provides Israel with nearly $4 billion in annual U.S. military aid and is set to expire in 2028.
And over the weekend, the United States celebrated its 250th anniversary. Officials have to remain sharp-focused to ensure that the celebrations run smoothly. Caplin's Dawn Booth gives us an inside look at these public safety protocols.
The floats, marching bands, and patriotic celebration may be what people remember, but behind every 4th of July celebration is an extensive public safety operation designed to protect visitors.
Events like the Independence Day Parade aren't planned overnight. Public safety officials spend months preparing for large crowds, coordinating road closures, emergency response plans, and communication between multiple agencies before the first spectator arrives.
I have family that's been in the military for years. My grandfather was in World War I, and I'm just excited to be here, and this is fabulous. Our freedoms are not taken for granted, in my opinion.
Earlier this week, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser joined public safety leaders to outline plans for the holiday, encouraging visitors to plan ahead, use public transportation when possible, stay hydrated, and remember the campaign message: if you see something, say something.
As a public, the community is really our biggest allies in these things. All these people out here help us with our eyes and ears and tell us what they see.
Be ready for an increased security presence, crowds, and road closures. I would say that if you're going downtown and you've done this before, don't assume you know what it's going to look like.
I should say preparation and communication is what keeps events like this running smoothly. As the celebration continues, those tools will remain at work long after the last float passes. From Washington, D.C., for Caplin News, I'm Dawn Booth.
Police responded to a deadly shooting in downtown Pensacola during 4th of July celebrations. The shooting left a 19-year-old man dead after hundreds of teens gathered downtown for what police described as a teen takeover. Officers say the crowd included children in middle school, and the situation grew increasingly disorderly as the night went on around 1 a.m. Gunshots echoed, prompting officers to rush in and provide emergency medical care. Despite their efforts, the 19-year-old victim was pronounced dead at the scene.
Fresno man was rescued from the wilderness on Independence Day after being missing for 6 days. 70-year-old Rodney Packard Sr. was reported missing after he failed to return home from a fishing trip on June 28th. He was last seen that afternoon driving his Nissan pickup near a place called Pine Flat Lake. Authorities say his families first searched the area before the Fresno County Sheriff's Office deployed its search and rescue team.
We're concerned because the weather is heating up and we don't know, what his situation was as far as food or water.
Rondi is recovering in the hospital where he continues to receive treatment. His family says they are overjoyed and relieved to have him back home.
With extreme heat waves continuing across much of the country this summer, some furry residents at the Maryland Zoo are staying cool thanks to air-conditioned and temperature-controlled water bowls. Zoo official Mike Evitz says animals like the red panda are naturally adapted to colder climates. The cooling systems help them stay comfortable as temperatures soar during the summer months. Not every animal needs the extra help though. Take Tuffy, the 44-year-old elephant who's perfectly content cooling off under the water cannon in his enclosure.
First choice our animals have is the choice of whether to be outside or whether to be inside where it's cooler and air conditioned. And so right now the red pandas are exercising that choice.
From chilled water bowls to cool showers, zoo staff says they're doing everything they can to keep their animal residents safe, healthy, and comfortable this summer. Questions about this summer about why FIFA decided to lift the suspension from a Team USA star.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
They're really kind of breaking records all over the place.
The city of Seattle is preparing for today's big matchup featuring the U.S. and Belgium. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes.
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Panthertech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
It's almost like you can hear the chants from 3,000 miles away. Welcome to sports from the sideline. Seattle this morning is booming with excitement as Team USA heads back to face Belgium for a chance to play in the World Cup quarterfinals. Reporter Bridget Chavez from KING tells us more.
All right, Luna, why don't you come up on stage?
Luna, the psychic pup, had one job.
Who are you gonna
Pick the winner of Monday night's USA-Belgium match. But after passing on the hot dogs and fish in the USA Bowl and the Belgian waffle in the other, Luna refused to make a pick. She did, however, knock over the Belgian flag.
I will declare the United States the winner.
For Seattle World Cup organizers, the excitement is about more than a four-legged forecaster. The U.S. men are returning to Seattle Monday with a spot in the quarterfinals on the line.
They have executed well beyond expectations.
Organizers say the tournament has already exceeded expectations and broken records across the city. On Juneteenth, 280,000 people rode Sound Transit and 85,000 people packed the waterfront, shattering its previous record of 50,000.
We're really kind of breaking records all over the place.
The surge is also showing up outside the stadium.
I think 2.5 times the amount of normal sales we see for like Seattle Seahawks games and everything.
The hall is expecting to break the record it just set.
The last USA game we ran out of cans of beer. We ran right down to our last case of cider.
Some fans have already traveled much further to get here.
So I drove here 3 days. I spent 3 days overnight also on the road.
This man drove all the way from Virginia and bought his $1,200 ticket before the USA even beat Bosnia.
And that's my dream, to see the US on the field.
Major controversy ahead of tonight's World Cup rematch between the USA and Belgium. USA forward Florian Balogun received a red card last match against Bosnia after stepping on a defender's ankle. Normally, a player who earns a red card faces a suspension in the following match, but sources say Donald Trump spoke with FIFA President Gianni Infantino about Balogun's red card and asked to review the call. The FIFA Disciplinary Committee later confirmed that Balogun will be eligible to play in tonight's game. This decision doesn't go without leaving fans questioning the interference by President Trump. The iconic Estadio Azteca played host to a thrilling World Cup round of 16 clash last night as England and Mexico battled for a place in the quarterfinals. Although Mexico started strong, England's Jude Bellingham scored twice in quick succession to swing the momentum. Julian Quiñones responded before halftime to cap an electric opening 45 minutes, but Harry Kane's second-half penalty proved to be the winner. England held on with 10 men for most of the second half to secure a place in the World Cup quarterfinals, where the Three Lions will face Norway. The final score, England 3, Mexico 2. The Miami Marlins have carried over their historic run of form in June into July, completing a series sweep over the Oakland Athletics in Sacramento yesterday. The Marlins' 20-6 record last month was not only an MLB best, but also marked the best calendar month in franchise history. Heriberto Hernandez homered twice as Miami built an 8-0 lead, then survived a late 8-run rally by the Athletics to hold on for a 9-8 win and completed the series sweep. The Fish now return home to host the Seattle Mariners on Tuesday at 7 p.m. You're watching Newsbreak, and we'll be coming right back.
Radcliffe Art and Design Incubator is the velocity accompanying the fellow's rudder, as in a boat. Unless there is movement or action, the planned direction is of little consequence. We encourage the creative ideas into action. And from the experience of doing, we critically assess the feedback, adjust, and set out to rediscover the potentialities of an entrepreneurial mindset.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Alejandro Hernandez.
I'm Sabrina Lozano. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.